Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Studio Scorian channel. My name is Mazur, and today I'd like to share with you our latest updates to the world map. This is map update 15.03.22, also known as Amor de Kasevaea. Let's discuss. So, when cultivating this update, we took into consideration the feedback and discussion from our map posts on Reddit, which, by the way, thank you for all the kind words and support. However, one of the critiques we noticed quite a lot was that some nations all appear to be the same size, at least with regards to the borders and the way the world map was set up. Anyways, we felt the biggest example of this was in Kasevaea. So looking at the map of Kasevaea, it does indeed look like a few of these nations shared similar traits, shapes, etc. So recognizing this, I felt this would be a good opportunity to reshape these borders and really let our imaginations run wild with this region. Of all the regions in Scoria, Kasevaea has been relatively untouched since its inception, so this was a real chance to bring about some much needed freshness to the region. So let's get into these changes, shall we? Boom! So first and foremost, this is a political overhaul of the Kasevaean region, simply meaning the addition of 10 new countries to the region, which resulted in some of our old favorites getting shuffled around. But don't worry, you'll get to see them real soon. And so with this change, we want to establish some new history for how it got to this point, playing into the colonial histories of Malinka and Bayo respectively within this region, as well as the independence wars that spawned as a result of that centuries-long tenure. Notable examples include the formation of Gran Felranza under Hector Chiron, pictured here on the horse if you will, as well as the Zalen War of Independence led by Juan Raul Santiago, also pictured raising his left hand in this picture, as well as some other events like the revolt of the Mechazarian Gauchos and the Isloan-Rukelian Wars. Don't worry, you don't get to memorize these. These will all be discussed at some point in the near future, but today you'll get to see a brief glimpse into how these events transpired and giving us the nations you'll see today. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at the new map updates on their own. So this is the new Kasevaea. Our new countries from north to south are Zalen, Delperez, Neanderthal, Chiranga, Rukela, Maradona, Akhilam, Meche, Kasevaea, and New Hilsen. Countries that have lost territory as a result of these nations coming in are Felranza, Jampala, Gordium, Talshika, and Islo. And that's, to the best of my knowledge, in order of who lost the most to least territory when forming these countries. And then one nation that moved entirely was Marazia. You can see where Maradona and parts of Rukela are, is where Marazia once was, and now Marazia is near Dallas and Kilram. And then with that general overview out of the way, let's briefly discuss each of these new countries, shall we? In alphabetical order, of course. Important to clarify. So first, we have Kasevaea, a republic led by Oscar Morais Serra from the capital of the same name, Kasevaea. Theosism is the largest religion, and they speak Tarugian. So, in the olden days of the Bayan Empire, the Bayans had a personal union with their southern neighbors of Tarugia. In order to make the distribution of land between them fair, they wrote up the Treaty of Silencia to determine which of these territories would speak either Bayan or Tarugian. In short, Bayan would be spoken mostly in Kasevaea, while Tarugian would be spoken in their territories within Bosmaria, as well as Alagosa, which is, if you can see my mouse cursor, it's these islands right here. Kasevaea is, however, an exception to this treaty, or rather a drawing error. But since colonialism, it has maintained its independent spirit simply by being intelligible to any of its neighbors. In fact, at one point, the Kasevaeans offered to be absorbed into nearby Maradona, but they rejected them simply for this reason. Moving on, we have Chiranga, a single-party socialist state led by President Eva Maria Biescas from the capital of Valparaiso. Huhuyani is the largest religion, and they speak Bayan, Jampalan, Telpari, and Zekoken. Chiranga is named in honor of Hector Chiron, a Felranzan military commander commonly referred to as the liberator of Kasevaea. Chiron led a revolutionary war on a massive scale by uniting most of the Bayan-speaking world within Kasevaea. He has patronage over much of the northeast. That includes Felranza, Jampala, Raguas, Chiranga here, and Maradona, which were once united under the revolutionary state known as Gran Felranza. Unfortunately, this shared ambition was short-lived when Chiron died of the Blue Plague in 234 DE, after a year, in fact, the Grand Union of Felranza dissolved. Nevertheless, though, Chiranga upholds the bold and revolutionary spirit of their legendary namesake. Like neighboring Jampala, it is a socialist state nestled in the rugged interior of Kasevaea, far removed from those that would seek to unseat their peaceful way of life and governance.
Next, we move on to Meche, a parliamentary republic led by Prime Minister Diego Halconseo from the capital of Rosana Caillo. And Theosism is the largest religion, and they speak Bayan, Ohilami, and Tausik. Now, Mechazar is known for its long-standing stable democracy and its high percentage of education among the citizenry. Mechazar also prides itself on clean energy initiatives spawned from the love of its biodiversity and rich climate. It consistently ranks among the most visited nations in Kasevaea as a result of these initiatives. To places such as the San Modad National Park, which is over 700 square kilometers and has hundreds of plants and animals that are rarely seen outside of the area, perhaps nowhere else in the region.
Next, we have Maradona, a unitary republic led by President Ana Belén Ramirez from the capital of San Isabel. Theosism is the largest religion, and they speak Bayan and Jampalan. Maradona gets its name from the old Meridional or southern prefecture of Gran Folranza. The name just simply stuck around after its independence. The nation is renowned for their high density of ancient Jampalan ruins, such as the stone city of Araipo. Much like their near neighbor, and you can see what I mean, this small corridor they share bordering Mechazar, which we previously discussed, Maradona also has a fondness for nature, and the two nations are considered to be regional leaders in the movement for renewables and eco-conservation. Next, we have Neanderthal, a tribalist republic led by President Wikimak Wematin from the capital of Sankati. Rukmorism is the official religion, and they speak Neanderthali, Bayan, and Zekaokan. Culturally similar to Islo, Neanderthal has a long history as the frontier of the larger Isloian realm. The Neanderthali expanded eastward, settling along the flourishing interior waterways of Kasevaea. Unfortunately, subsequent war and colonization attempts have cut off Neanderthal from the rest of Islo. Despite this, though, the nation keeps hold of their ancient traditions and ways of life.
Next, we move on to New Helzend. New Helzend is a federal republic led by President Thurin Dieters from the capital of Magellan. And Theosism is the largest religion, and they speak Polish and the Bayan. Now this country is named after the largest province in Balmark, which is Helzend. New Helzend was the only overseas colony of the Polish Empire. The islands were acquired by the Polish following the Western Spice Wars of the 190s DE. Balmark dropped their claims over Ragusa and Alagosa, and in return was allowed to keep their hold on New Helzend. The islands are relatively arid compared to their neighbors, and a favorite spot for thrill seekers and water sports enthusiasts, as New Helzend has some of the best cliff jumping spots in the Western Hemisphere.
Next, we have Akhilam. Akhilam is a federal republic led by President Shuman Chaska from the capital of Atipaluca. Chuchukuyan is the largest religion, and they speak Akhilami, Bayan, Talshik, and Malinkan. Akhilam derives its name from the native word for big hammock, and this refers to the vast reaches of sand pines that cover the land. The nation is also infamous for its regard to for religious significance for the dream conjurers, as conjurers by the thousands would flock annually to the nation for the holiday of Soluna, and no one is quite sure why they do that, but it just happens there, and they're okay with that. Next, we have the nation of Rukela, a tribalist republic led by chieftain Setanwakua from the capital of Irabald. Rukmorism is also the official religion, and they speak Rukelan. A historic tribal confederation, Rukela has always been at odds with neighboring Islo, as evident with centuries of conflict and strife between them. Perhaps the biggest indicator of this would be their preference for the god Norek as opposed to the commonly worshipped sky goddess within Rockmorism. Rukelan warriors have always been proficient on horseback, which has allowed them to safeguard their sovereignty from threats the realm over. Furthermore, Rukela consists of 14 semi-autonomous tribes which govern the provinces, as indicative of their national flag. You can see here 14 mini symbols and one big symbol. Boom, symbolism.
Next, we moved on to Zalen. Zalen is a federal republic led by President Omar Bazdan from the capital of Overhaul. Pharisaism is the largest religion, and they speak Bayan, Delperez, and Zeka-Okan. This is the northern counterpart to Gran Felaranza during the Kasevaean Wars of Independence. The revolution was carried by a Theosist priest named Juan Raul Santiago. His passionate spirit, religious fervor, and his careful alliance crafting helped secure independence for this nation. Similar to Meche, it has never joined the Gran Felaranza project due to differing cultural identities and the role the nation played under Bahian colonialism. Despite a history of civil war, drug trafficking, dictatorships, and wars with their indigenous neighbors on their southern border, Zalen has an incredibly vibrant culture and cuisine that has often intimidated and often appropriated the world over.
And last but certainly not least, moving on to their southern indigenous neighbors, Delperez, a parliamentary republic led by Prime Minister Nelly Yatzil Iktan from the capital of Mazetepango. Tlacto Cayotli, oh my gosh, is the largest religion and they speak Telpari, Bayin, and Zeka-Okan. The Telpari people are the namesake of this nation and consist of among the largest subcultures of the wider Halutsin peoples, which also includes near neighboring Zeka-Oka. This was also the larger justification for their independence, in which during the Sonzalan Civil War, Delperez seceded from Sonzalan. The dense jungles within the Delperez are considerably among the most difficult areas to traverse in all of Scoria. High mountains with steep cliffs, forest floors that never see the sun, mudslides, rain, and even human dangers like guerrilla groups that operate within the jungles. Well, that about wraps up this map update. We hope you enjoyed our feature presentation. If you'd like to see segments of our Worldbuilding Wednesday on stream, you can watch us every Wednesday night at twitch.tv/Mazarin. Thank you so much for watching, and oh yeah, Nick, thank you for joining me.
Oh, of course, as always, I'd love to be a part of these World Building Wednesdays.
Boom. We'll see you next time.